little earthquakes. Little earthquakes. Hello, everyone. Let's get this all pulled up so I can see you folks popping in here. Why does it say upcoming? Should be live. Interesting. Either way, had pretty cool darn day here. Did some, been working outside a ton. So that's been cool. Getting some outside time. Doing some workouts that way. And feels kind of nice. Getting some fresh air and just total different, mobility things. Basically chopping up a bunch of dead wood that's on the property. Getting the axe swung and hatchets and little hand saws and all that stuff, which feels really good. Because you're kind of doing total body all the time when you're doing that stuff. But we got TikTok, we got YouTube pulled up tonight. Gonna do probably somewhere around 30-40 minutes, depending on how fun things get. So, as we know, it is the Wild West on here. And we can get into pretty much anything at any moment. So, but aside from that, basically doing a bunch of stuff for the website, getting a lot of the back end of things up and running. So kind of boring updates and things in terms of the office, but it should be cool. Gonna get a ton of painting done this weekend, so that should be nice. And yeah, keep it rolling. But aside from that, there's a lot of computer-based things getting this office ready. So, but what do we got over on YouTube? Nothing yet. We got, oh, that's why I'm usually splitting the two here so we can pull everybody up. There we go. It always does the top chat. I want the live chat. Daisy. What's going on, Daisy? I don't think I've seen you in here before. How we doing? Welcome. What do we got? Today's Thursday, right? Yes, today is Thursday. Mr. Ryan. Okay, I suffer from a rare skin condition called phimosis. The government won't let me get it treated under insurance. Another reason to hate the current government. I hope you could bring light to this condition. Thank you. Yeah. And a lot of things, when you're seeing, because this is a skin issue, right? So when you're seeing things like skin issues, it's going to come from the inside. It's going to be related to food. It's going to be related to the GI and the immune system there, or more or less the immune responses in response to bacteria, viruses, parasitic issues, mold or fungus and things that can go on there. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing the most, is that when people have skin issues, we got to test the GI, we got to look for some food allergies in there, and get this immune response to calm down so that you can have your body heal naturally from these things. I would definitely be doing something like Albizia to be taken orally, along with beef tallow that you could put on topically, and probably something like chamomile, along with a digestive glandular, because when you're doing a ton of organ meats that have fat-soluble vitamin A that's very bioavailable, the skin barriers need that vitamin A fatty acid vitamin in there so that you can have a good skin barrier. So, yeah. Have you heard of this before? Yes, I have. Or treat someone with this. Seem really knowledgeable. I mean, it can... like I was saying, skin issues are going to be coming from the inside, and it's more of an adaptation to where your body's losing its ability to adapt to different stressors. So we should look at things not just in a chemical sense to where what's happening in the GI, but also mentally and physically what's going on there too. So, but send my email. It's in my bio somewhere, because YouTube doesn't have a message feature, which I think is crazy. I don't know why, but either way. We could get down to the bottom of it. Does maca increase DHT? I've never had the hirsutism until I took that. If the conversion is slow, it's going to look like maca's doing that, but maca's more of an adaptogen than anything. It's more of like technically a female aphrodisiac. So, is there an AI in the chat? Yeah, it says, what the heck? That's crazy. AI says, health Q&A, ask your questions. That's new. I haven't seen that before. Anyways, so could it do that? It's not going to be the maca causing that. It's just a lack of conversion steps from some area of the body that needs a little bit of help there. So, but that's a good question. I just want to frame that thinking in a way that doesn't have you thinking that supplements are going to create issues. So, heck yeah, I've heard of it. Hello from upstairs. If you have GI issues and need to test and can only do one, which would you say is more beneficial, breath or stool? Stool 100%, which is not fun to do necessarily because you gotta basically poop in a box and then collect it. So, but it is very much worth the information that you get from that because, my goodness, you're gonna be playing a guessing game. So for Tresh, I would just wonder the type of stool test being done because sometimes it's just looking for pathogens, and that kind of drives me crazy because the pathogens or the opportunistic infections are there because of the environment. So, but yeah, the environment within the GI, and if you don't have, if you're just getting pathogen testing, then it's not going to show you how to rebuild those barriers and make sure these things don't come back. The pain in my back is getting worse. What should I do now? I would go and see a chiro, Miss Ashley. I'm very sorry to hear that, though. Functional medicine also said PCOS in the past, but never skipped a period, which is good. Very regular cycle. It was the testosterone that was elevated there. Now 29. Still have the acne, so they're doing, okay, stool test and an allergy test. Beautiful. Beautiful, Emma. You are set up for success, my friend. Why is this getting all funky with me? Okay. Addie, what's up, Addie? You're very welcome. Did I see your message? I don't know. I haven't been on TikTok in a couple hours, so I was doing a lot of computer type work, so I keep banging this damn camera. Can't seem to figure this out for the life of me. But anyways, what does a job interview look like for a doctor? It depends on where you're applying, whether it's hospital settings or a private practice. It's going to vary. I'm currently opening up my own, so no interviews necessary for me. So do I have to take things like berberine, Vitex, and inositol for life to keep the PCOS away? No, not when you figure out the inflammatory testing that you're about to do. Once you get those things down and out of the system, now you don't need to do these things anymore. And yes, you still have to eat good and sleep well and exercise and do all the good stuff that you should be doing, but you won't have to do this forever. That's the whole point, is to restore the body so that you don't need to keep playing the game. So I think I asked if I can play in a game coming up, if it's okay with you. I have training tomorrow, and I have basketball training tomorrow too. Is it okay? Can I do it? I would not be playing with an injury, just because if you're having that amount of pain is telling you to stop. So pain's really cool that way because it will tell you what not to do. Because if you keep doing that, it will get worse. Do you think PCOS is genetic? Hell no. I think the habits are genetic. Dan has type 2 diabetes, in case that matters. Yeah, I think it's just the world we live in today, and there's an epigenetic story to where something that your grandma did while she was pregnant with your mom, you were still in there as a tiny little egg inside your mom when she was conceived or about to be born. So things that were done when your grandma was pregnant with your mom, that could affect your life. That could affect your genetic expressions that way. Things that were done at birth, that can certainly play with things, antibiotics, and just all the hell that we put our bodies through over time. And that's really what leads to a lot of these things. It's your body's losing its ability to adapt because of too many stressors interacting with the system. It's literally as simple as that. It's just now, what is the body trying to do? How is it adapting and compensating? And from there, you know what to basically give your body to get the healing done from the inside out. But yeah, for example, an inpatient service doc, what types of questions get asked? An inpatient service doc, I mean, that's going to be very different than outpatient scenarios. My field is more outpatient, so I can't really give 2 cents on what that looks like. It's just not my experience. Should buy the brace I sent you? I think that one looked pretty good, from my opinion. Can you explain lean PCOS? What is lean PCOS? All these new conditions, guys, the human body hasn't changed in thousands of years. So all these new conditions coming up, it's just new stressors changing the system and adapting in different ways. So that doesn't, make it this groundbreaking new disease that we have to do something special for, in my opinion, right? Should I buy the brace I sent? It's like a loss on my muscles in my left leg during my injury. Yeah, you're gonna see the leg start to atrophy pretty quickly because you have to do some open kinetic chain exercises during that, which is basically non-weight bearing. Like you're doing things like quad extensions, hamstring curls, things like that, and you can get more fancy based on, the different tissue, meniscus, different ligaments and things, but, oh my goodness, Emma, why are you being censored? What the hell? That wasn't even worth censoring. What is the most common gut issues you see with skin issues like eczema and psoriasis and acne? The food allergy piece is huge because everybody has different food allergies, especially IgG. So you can also have IgE allergies that you just don't know of and that they are at a lower amount. So that can totally be a thing. But the most common things, yeast is overgrowing. There's some opportunistic infections for bacteria as well. So those are probably the 2 most common. Very occasionally I'll see a parasitic issue, but that's kind of far and few between. Another secret, killer there is also mold. So, but aside from that, I would say the food piece and bacteria and candida in there. So, aside from that, those are definitely the most common ones. And probably maybe some gallbladder issues or small intestine overgrowths and low stomach acid too. So I'll expand on that. There's a couple more in there that are really common. But everything's tied into those other things too. So mental health can affect the GI and vice versa. How often do you test for the GI after the first test? It definitely depends on progress that was made and how things are going for the patient in particular, but probably between that 4 to 6 month mark. It depends on the person and their progress and how crunchy they are, so to speak, to how motivated you are to do the things that we need to do. But yeah, I would say on average 4 to 6 months you're looking at a retest. Is 1 cup of wine a day bad if living an overall healthy lifestyle? Everybody's going to be different. So there's some people that can never eat good, drink every day, smoke every day, eat donuts for all their meals, and they live to 100. So some people are kind of built different in that way. And then others will get secondhand smoke one time and then end up with lung cancer. So everybody's different, and you can't justify, moderation with emotional eating or drinking or things. That's just my opinion there. Do I like spearmint for women? I don't think it's a bad thing. If you're talking essential oil wise, or the plant itself and like extracting from, because spearmint is kind of like the mint plant. Some differences there, but yeah, if you want to like grow your own and then create your own tincture, you can do that. That's actually way easier than you think to do. It's literally just mixing it around once a day. But you want to make sure that you're getting the right kind and doing those things. Spearmint tea, yeah, it can be, there's some stress relief in there. I mean, I like lemon balm. If you're doing it for more mental stress components there, lemon balm's really good. I mean, California poppy, chamomile, all those are awesome too, but I don't think I would do any chamomile if I were you. Is melatonin bad for you? Well, your body makes it every day. I think, the recent stuff with melatonin and everything, pretty interesting. But there are some things with that study that's like, this doesn't really, the quality of that isn't that great. It's more of what we're doing to inhibit our own melatonin production and conversion every day. So poor eating habits, poor GI health, you're not going to be able to create enough serotonin, which eventually becomes melatonin. So you can have those gut issues have crossover effect into the brain and impact sleep and things. But there was another really cool thing I was going to say about that. The melatonin thing. Oh, yeah. My goodness. Blue light. The screens. All these things that we are constantly doing that inhibit melatonin production. Eating sugar at night. Staying up. Lights on. Get some red lights. Get your screen to do that 3 clicks of the power button so that you can turn your red light on and just take that whole inhibition to melatonin creation out of the equation. So that's how you solve that issue. It's by not allowing it to happen in the first place. But I like melatonin more for creating a good sleep cycle, and then you should be trying to pull away from that, because if you create that good sleep pattern and you're sticking to it, you're waking up at the right times, going to bed at the right times, getting good light exposure to your eyes in the morning, because that makes a huge difference. And if you can, try not to wear sunglasses in the morning. I know for some light colored eyed people, they're like, what? I have blue eyes. It feels like someone's putting a laser in my damn eye when you don't wear sunglasses. I get it. Actually, I don't get it. I have brown eyes, so can't really get it, but either way. Having a monthly period is a sign of ovulation, or is it possible I'm still not ovulating? If you did not ovulate, you would not have a period, because that follicle is what has the corpus luteum develop. It's actually the development and breakdown of the ovarian follicle that creates a lot of your hormones in the first place. So if you're not ovulating, you are merely ovulating a cyst at that point. So, but yeah, I would, if you don't have an Oura ring already, any cycling woman should have an Oura ring. That is O-U-R-A. Aura, not aura as in like the kid on the boat, but different type of aura. Do you recommend taking quercetin before eating meals for high histamine release in the GI? I don't use isolated things very often at all. Maybe like a mineral here and there. So for that inflammatory response, Albizia is by far, in terms of research, in terms of all the patients I've given it to, it's the number one thing that I recommend to people. Albizia, Lorbec is the fancy name. So there's 2 types of Albizia that are pretty, bigger named. One is for more of mood regulation and some things with the brain, but Albizia lebec is the bark that they use for histamine responses and having effects on the H2 receptors in the stomach. So there's only four H receptors in the body, and if you impact one of those along with calming mast cells down and creating different interleukins to cool off, then yeah, that's your best bet. But also aloe vera juice, great thing to be using as well. And you gotta get stomach acid up there too and figure out why you're creating these histamine responses, because you'll be taking Albizia forever, right? If you don't figure that out. So send me a message, we'll get you some testing, my friend. My inositol to keep PCOS in remission, does it need to be D-chironositol 2? Honestly, I don't use that form of it, or that form, or that supplement at all, really. If you're more or less asking about insulin and how to impact that, Gymnema, Oregon Grape, both in liquid form, you'll do fantastic with that. And then also combating adrenal stress too. But yeah, I would do Gymnema and Oregon Grape, and I would just leave it there for now. Anyways, man, I'm tired today, guys. I'm freaking tired today. You guys are so quiet. It's just me and Emma in here chatting away. I don't mind it. Freaking forgot electrolytes too. I'll be peeing all night. How do you know if you have mad cow disease? I don't know, to be totally honest with you. I would go immediately to see a medical provider if I had that. Or had concerns for it. They could definitely have better diagnostics than me. My knee was hurting all day, and I was walking up and down stairs most of the day. I mean, definitely throw that sucker up if you want to drain, get that swelling down. Maybe even using some compression and things in there. And if it's still in that acute phase, don't forget about ice. I know it's not comfy to do ice when it's cold out, but pelvic ultrasound needed for PCOS diagnosis, question mark. I care more about the lab values. Where that becomes important is if, say, there's adenomyosis or late stages of endometriosis or late stages of PCOS. If you know you're not in late stages, you can still get an ultrasound just to check. But if you've already had that done, beautiful. Then that's like, okay, we're in a good spot. We don't have crazy amounts of cysts or growth that needs to be removed surgically. I mean, the best diagnostic tool that they're going to use, and you're better off asking an OB about diagnoses and things, but they typically do an endoscopy to for sure diagnose something like that. But ultrasound is a great tool as well. Can't bag on ultrasound. Very non-invasive, easy to do. I know you said no plan, but I'm about to head to training. Hey, you do you, man. Is memory recall like a muscle? That's a really good question. Not really, because muscle memory is not really muscle memory. I forget all the spinal tracts and how that works, but I'll look into that, give you a really cool answer tomorrow and break down the neurology of it. But no, it's different, and there's kind of no such thing as a muscle memory. It's more of certain spinal tracts and areas of the brain that allow you to do that. And there's so many things that go into something like memory, just to sidestep from the muscle thing. Smells, emotions, the environment, all these different things change memory and are a part of memory recall. So 50, 60 PCOS, mild or severe at that level. Is that really high? Most of the time, That's kind of like a typical level that I'll see for somebody that's, a younger female coming in, PCOS concerns, insulin issues, acne, painful ovulation or something like that. 50 to 60 is usually where I'm seeing that come in at first. I've seen 100. So I've seen double the amount that you had. Pretty crazy. But yeah, not uncommon. Not normal though. That was the T-level at that time. Ovulate every month, yet I had PCOS. How is that possible? Well, you could still ovulate. Because if FSH and LH signaling is good, and you're, really developing that insulin issue early on, you kind of caught this at a great time before it kept progressing. So that's a very good thing, first of all. And you can still ovulate by having that go off. It's just the pituitary signaling to the ovarian tissues to basically ovulate a follicle, and that will kind of be treated as an not unfertilized pregnancy. Jeez, can't speak tonight. But a non-fertilized pregnancy, pretty crazy. Or you just ovulate a cyst, and that's really common too. But usually they're small, and if they're small, they can shrink. So, do you have any stretches for the knee before the game? Meniscus is going to be tough. There's not really good stretches there, aside from maybe some hamstring things that you can do, but it's more of stability and building the hip and butt muscles up and the medial thigh muscles up. So, Reem says, if you have PCOS questions, go see an OBGYN. Hey, smartass, they already did. Good job. Giving some real life help here. It's like these people think that I'm the first stop on somebody's journey. I'm the last place people come to. And then when you have, all they tell you is to go on the birth control. Thank you, Emma. But hey, that's not my wheelhouse, right? That's their recommendations. It's a fire department. They're spraying down the house, putting the fire out. But that doesn't rebuild the house. We need to get in there and rebuild the darn house. Whether that's plumbing, electrical work, woodwork, we got to get in there and rebuild. That's what the whole point of looking for functionality is in the first place, finding the root causal factors for why you're developing these issues in the first place. A lot of the time it is an insulin issue. So what do you think of spironolactone for acne instead of the birth control? Well, it's figuring out why you have that acne. We already know that the androgen dominance is a thing, and you have a history of that along with the insulin factors there too. You're going to benefit a lot when that food allergy test comes in, along with having that stool test ran, because now you're figuring out the inflammatory reasons, because we know that the acne was not a hormonal reason. Otherwise, you would have seen that improve. So there you go. If you're seeing those blood labs come back and estrogens and the androgens are looking great, okay, now we got to go after the inflammatory things, which is exactly what they're doing. Yeah, androgen and estrogen dominance in the past. Woof! Emma, you got the whole freaking kit and caboodle, huh? I actually have a very similar patient to what you're going through right now. It's just way, way crazy extreme end of things. To where they had adenomyosis, they had to get surgery done, but now she's doing really well. And sometimes you do need a surgical procedure to go on a med to buy you some time as we figure out what needs to be done. So, and low thyroid. Oh my goodness. Emma. Jeepers. I mean, if you're having liver issues, you're not going to be able to convert thyroid hormones through, so that could simply be a conversion issue. And let's be real, like 90% of thyroid issues are all immune system related. So you're now having that tested for the foods and the GI test, and that's beautiful. I would just be curious of what GI tests they're doing. Again, so you're not just looking at pathology, you get an actual explanation to barrier function, pre and probiotic counts, breakdown of foods, absorption of foods, those different macronutrient breakdowns. Didn't have autoimmune thyroid antibodies. Good. Very good. Okay, Genova. Beautiful. Beautiful test. That's probably my favorite one. Doctor's data is really good too. I just think Genova is a little bit better to see visually. Doctor's data is a little bit, it's like a kindergartner put that test together in terms of how it looks and everything. What about testing positive for Epstein-Barr? I had mono a few years ago. So that could be, lingering in the background too. It would more or less lead you to be more deficient in terms of immune responses. So it's really a matter of getting vitamin D to be optimal and getting enough good medicinal mushrooms into the system so that you can create all these darn immune cells to combat that viral protein in the first place. But again, not uncommon to see. I don't know if you said that you have that test positive, but it's more of a curiosity question, I guess. I would go in the route that you're already going in, because that's probably going to resolve once you fix all the things in the GI, because a lot of your immune responses are occurring there as well. So if you can get that up to speed. Are you still doing free consults while you wait to start up a clinic? I'll typically do a complimentary intro call, and then we'll get on an hour-long call after that, get labs run and figure out everything that we got to do. But yeah, send me a message. I'll help you out there. No problem helping people out. So, okay. My goodness, it's already 9 p.m. I am probably going to finish doing a bunch of stuff for the office here. And we'll definitely see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a lot of painting this weekend, so you might see me with some stained fingers the next time we're here. But appreciate you guys for hanging out. I know it was a little short one tonight, but still got in to chat with you guys. So appreciate it a lot. As always, stay healthy, stay free. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. Probably later on in the day, once the sun sets, we'll go live. So, but thanks for hanging out, everybody. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.